Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Hello, you cool cats and kittens. It's your boy Brian Tejeda from English 15. Today we'll be talking about American healthcare. Yay, isn't that just exciting? There has been a lot of discussion when it comes to the state of America's healthcare recently. It was first talked about at the start of the 2020 election cycle, but then issues received a lot more attention with the current state of the world due to the COVID-19 virus. Which really begs the question, what is America's healthcare system like, and what could they be doing better? America used to be a great bastion of modern medicine. That is why, as a proud American, I hate to see that the medical infrastructure that is now in place is failing the American people. There are many American citizens that can't access the healthcare system or can't afford proper medical services because of America's privatized insurance system. Which is such a shame when we know that there are many different models that are being used by other comparable first world countries today. America should take notice of what some of these other countries are doing for the good of its citizens. There are a number of things that other countries' healthcare systems are doing right, such as the coverage that they provide for their people and the reduced physical burden that is put on the citizens of that country. The best course of action that the American government can do for its people is to implement a hybrid version of a pure universal healthcare system. To start off, let's introduce you to the wonderful and interesting world of healthcare politics. The current system that the United States has now is mainly ran by private insurance company. There really isn't a name for what America's system is because it's an amalgamation of a lot of systems. So let's call it trash. The systems that you have likely heard about recently when it comes to the political climate in the United States is Medicare for all, single payer, multi-payer, and universal healthcare system. For the most part, all of them refer to the same thing. The one whose terminology most simply explains the systems that we're talking about is single payer. In the single-payer system, there's only one body responsible for the medical expenses in the country, and that would be the government, thus the term single-payer. The healthcare debate has been around for quite some time now. America has gotten programs like Social Security and Medicare. We also have seen other countries, at the same time, like Canada, push for systems that are like Medicare for all, and experience a lot of reduced costs for their citizens. This single-payer system seems to be the most radical and very popular when it comes to young people on the internet. Even so, there are some issues that are present in the pure model. But before we get to analyzing the problem with different models, let's cover some of the problems present in America's system now. The US spends more on healthcare as a share of the economy, nearly twice as much as the average OECD country, yet has the lowest life expectancy and the highest suicide rates among the 11 nations. The fact that the United States spends so much on healthcare compared to other countries isn't necessarily a terrible thing in and of itself, but the fact we spend so much and get such bad returns is a problem. Why are we spending so much money in healthcare compared to other countries? It is because of the system that we have now. Like I said earlier, trash fails to regulate prices that the private healthcare sector has. America deals with a complicated system that incurs a lot of administrative costs. If America had a much simpler system that didn't have to account for all the different private insurance programs like it does now, they could cut down on all those costs. Another source of the price differences that Americans deal with that other countries don't is drug prices. The way the system works in other countries is that the government negotiates with drug makers for lower prices. However, the US doesn't. There are only two programs that do similar things in the US, and those are the Veterans Association and Medicaid. Those few programs that the government lets use their members their power to negotiate pay the lowest drug prices, at least in America. The problem that most people are concerned about when it comes to healthcare reform is the economic impact that it would have on the country to have such a new radical insurance program that covers everyone. It's a genuine concern. Most radical advocates for reform like to acknowledge the fact that the insurance industry is huge, but they don't acknowledge that the industry is made out of people. Millions of Americans are not going to have a job if some of these radical Medicare for all programs pass. A counter argument that is posed usually is that expanding might create a lot of new job opportunities for people that used to work in the healthcare industry. However, that is why a hybrid system would be best for America. We would get rid of some of the problematic parts of the insurance industry, but we would also leave infrastructure present for the other millions of Americans that work in the industry, like for things dental and essential things for living. Another totally valid criticism of universal healthcare is that if we get a system where everyone's covered, it would lead to an increase of the people consuming healthcare service, thus leading to longer wait times, which is a totally valid concern. And it's a question that you have to ask yourself. Does waiting an extra 30 minutes at a doctor's worth a huge amount of people not being able to go to the doctors or not being able to afford the medicine they need? I don't know, man. That's a really tough question, and it's something that we'll have to think long and hard about. In history, you usually see that reform is usually portrayed in two ways: the reformists and the revolutionaries. Revolutionaries are very flagrant and wild in their assertions and speed, but they have the right thing at heart. The reformists are the ones that work in a crooked system and try to make things better over time. In the case of civil rights, we have examples like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. One of the things that worries me about the current conversations in healthcare is that there is a lot of politically ineffective talk that's going on. A lot of the revolutionaries, radical people, have a mindset that's nerf or nothing, burn your bus. It upsets me because that's not the way we should be looking at reform. We should be looking at getting our ideas passed, because if anything, we should agree that the system that we have in place now in America is just not cut out for it. So we should try to get anything as long as we make an improvement for the betterment of the American people.